So the first thing that we want to talk about is what kind of books should you select to read to your young baby, maybe even 0 to 2-year-old baby, right? What you want to do is you want to select books with hard pages. So the hardbound books, board books, or pages that are generally sturdy and not easy to tear, because your baby will of course get curious and they might try and tear off the pages, right? That's the first thing. Second thing, what you also want to do is you want to select books which are bright and colorful, because of course that will attract your baby's attention and they'll be more interested and more curious to know what's in the book. The third thing that you want to do is to also select books which have short sentences. So maybe about 5 to 6 words each and not long paragraphs, because it's difficult for your baby to concentrate and pay attention to long sentences and make sense of it, right? The next thing that you want to keep in mind is to have books which are very descriptive, right? So it could be descriptive in a visual sense where it's talking about colors and shapes, sizes, that kind of thing, or it can also be descriptive from an emotional point of view. So somebody's feeling sad, somebody's feeling happy, somebody's excited, because this also allows for you to be animated when you are reading to your baby, which makes it even more interesting for your baby. And my last tip in selecting your book is also to select books that have little bit of a sense of realism, right? So at that age, at the age of 0 to 2 especially, we don't want to read books where a pig is flying or an elephant is talking, because it just confuses the baby as they become older, because then they start to believe that these things are real. What we want to do is we want to keep it real. We want to focus on stories which have a sense of realism, where there are humans talking, humans exploring, and as they become slightly older and they understand that animals cannot really talk and elephants cannot really fly, then it is okay to have those kind of stories as well, because then it's actually funny for your baby to engage in those kind of stories. So I hope that makes sense. That's my first tip on how to actually choose what kind of storybooks to start reading for your baby, right? Now let's move on to tip number 2. Our tip number 2 is to keep each book reading session short and succinct, right? So we don't want to read to our babies for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, because they cannot focus their attention for so long. So even if you're reading for 30 seconds, 45 seconds, even a minute, right? That is absolutely okay, and it of course depends on your baby's age. So if your baby is very young, maybe about 3 to 4 months of age, you would be able to read to them only for 30 seconds. If your baby is slightly older, maybe 1.5 to 2 years of age, they could probably take in more longer minutes of story reading for them, right? So keep the lesson short and succinct as per your baby's age and ability, but you don't want to bore them and you don't want to tire them out either. Our tip number 3 is keep your sessions fresh. What does this mean? This means that we don't want you to repeat the same book again and again and again, right? Your baby will get bored and tired of listening to the same story if you do it too much and if you overdo it. Think about it. Even if you're watching your favorite movie, or even if you're reading your favorite novel or story, how many times can you do it again and again? You can't, right? You will get bored, you will get tired, and it will not be as fun anymore. It's the same with our babies. We don't want to feed them the same story, the same book over and over again. Because baby books are small, because the stories are short, we think that it just got over so quickly, so let's go over it again. And we repeat the same story multiple times, sometimes in the same session itself, right? That's usually not a good idea. Sometimes your babies might want you to repeat it, but usually your baby will get bored if you overdo it. So our advice here, our tip here is to keep it fresh by introducing new books from time to time.